Kia ora koutou, welcome everybody to this celebration and remembrance and farewell for Kristene. On behalf of Bett and Murrey and the family, thank you for attending. Just by way of introduction, my name is Paul Stock and I'm the coordinating chaplain here at the university. And it's our privilege to host this remembrance and this farewell for Kristene this afternoon. Now, just a bit of housekeeping. The toilets are over here on your right-hand side, and we've got some spare seats at the front here. Now, for some of you who are lecturers here at the university, the boot's on the other foot here, so please come forward, okay? You know what that's like with your students. Jimena, thank you for showing the example there. So we've got 4 more seats. Yes, here we go. 2 more, thanks. Murray, well done. Come forward, Murray. You're okay. Here you go, Murray. You're not getting out of it that easy, Murray. Yesterday I had a special time with Bett and Murray as we reflected together on Kristene's life. So it's my privilege now to provide an introduction in terms of a reflection on her life. So Kristene was born in Christchurch in 1972 and was known as a positive pink child. So you all see the photo on the front there, yeah? That really epitomised her as a child as well, with a fetish for pink. So everything when she was a child had to be pink. Now, Bett and Murray told me that it took a while for Kristene to begin talking. But when she did, as many of you can attest to, she didn't really stop. So alongside her growing passion for science, she became a talented artist and photographer. And as we see also on the front cover there, she also developed quite a fetish for shoes. And also you would have seen a large array of scarves. And thank you. I think the hanger is completely empty. So thank you for getting in with the spirit of this afternoon. Kristene would have loved that. And you're free to take those scarves away with you this afternoon as a memento from Kristene to remember her. Now, as many of you know, studying and working at universities dominated her adult life. So first up it was University of Canterbury for a BSc, then Lincoln for an MSc in plant biology working on asparagus. Her PhD took her to Melbourne where she worked on molecular plant breeding in wheat. Then she set off for the US for a series of postdoc positions. Washington State, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Now, as many of you know, Kristene was a highly gifted and multi-talented person. She had a deep passion for science. She had a broad knowledge and inquiring mind, and was not afraid to speak her mind. But unfortunately, some of her time in the US was not easy. So at that point, she decided to return to New Zealand for family and personal reasons. Now, after applying for several jobs for which she was deemed overqualified, she secured a position in molecular epidemiology at Massey, where she found her niche under Jackie and Dave's leadership. And she loved growing orchids. You can see that in the service sheet and then on her casket here. She loved growing orchids. Her office was full of them. And it seems that Kristene and her orchids blossomed together at the vet school and the Hopkirk Centre. Kristene was a prolific publisher and a prodigious reader and could explain complex concepts clearly to her students and even legal teams in court cases. So we continue to remember and celebrate Kristene's life. And shortly I will hand over to some of her colleagues who worked most closely with her to provide further reflections. But first I would like to invite Kristene's brother Craig to come and read a poem from Kristene's diary. Thank you, Craig.
Walking the roads of our youth, through the land of our childhood, our home, our truth. Be near me, guide me, always stay beside me so that I can be free. Free. Let's roam this place, familiar and vast, our playground of green frames, our past. We were wanderers, never lost, always home. And every place was fenceless, and time was endless. Our ways were always the same. Calm my demons and walk with me until our roads lead us away from each other. And if your heart's full of sorrow, keep walking. Don't rest. And promise me from heart to chest to never let your memories die. Never. I will always be alive and in your mind and by your side. I'm free. I was very grateful to be able to get home in time to be with family as Kristene died. And we went home with her belongings, including this diary and her last notebook. And as one does on the next morning, with curiosity, I opened the notebook to find that poem, which is entitled For My Brother. And I wept, as I am weeping now, for the generosity and kindness of Kristene to give me that, to give us that. And I would like to thank you for the kindness that you've given Kristene, the friendship, the love, and the happiness. However and whenever she was part of your life. So thank you for coming today. And thanks for the gift, Kristene.
Today we just do not celebrate her life, but we also grieve the loss of her from our midst. Thank you, Craig, for sharing so honestly and in such a heartfelt way. I'd now like to invite Patrick to come forward to give his tribute. Like an ice cream. Close to it.
Where to start, Kristene? Where to start? Well, I guess that should be where. W-E-A-R. As there are very few people who've ever seen me in a shirt like this. For good reason, clearly. But that was the brief for today. So here I am, as instructed, as usual. I hope this makes you smile, Kristene. Though, it looks like I've had a fairly good run for my money from Professor Kenyon and Dr. Snedden. I'm going to miss you, Kristene. We are all going to miss you. As I'm sure are all the researchers you have interacted with. Scientists like to count things, measure things, and make notes accordingly. And boy, did Kristene have a lot of notes. Mostly in diaries from the previous year's works. They are little treasure troves, glimpses into her diverse Massey research career, having been shackled from those polypoid plants, working with sensible things like diploids or haploids, like I do. I have known Kristene for a long time and spent many hours in conversation with her on many topics. Surprisingly, I've only actually published 4 research papers with her, and they were on different subjects. I'm going to get a bit technical now. So last year, with my colleagues in MEPILab, Dave Heyman, and Janelle, who's also here today, thank you for coming, Janelle, we published on some little baby RNA viruses. So these viruses were found and are found everywhere, but they were found in this really fascinating system that Dave has been privy to be able to obtain for us. Also in 2022, I published a paper with her on analysis of RNA-seq in newborn lambs with Rao Tukipati from the Agricultural School. Very different to the previous one. Previous year before that, I published a study with her on, it's going to get a bit dirty now, fecal microbial transplantation in dogs who have a various kind of hemorrhagic diarrhea syndrome. That was with a former colleague. And then in 2019, I published with her on working on a little cattle tick that Kevin's involved with to look at the genome of that. So even with that little glimpse of those few projects, you can see Kristene had a great network and a great diversity of work. We also co-supervised a student, a PhD student, who's Janelle, who's here today, and also we supervise a master's student called Rebecca Owen for her master's. Janelle was working on those viruses, and yeah, here we go again. Bex is working on kitten diarrhea. So can you see a theme here? That's the thing about those of us who work in pathogens and disease. It usually involves processing, dealing with, and quite frankly, and excuse me for this, but yes, it's beep. It's what we do. These research activities are the ones that I'm aware of. There are many others in this room that Kristene has co-supervised postgrad students with and or published with. So this morning I just had a quick look through her Google Scholar page just to give you a hint, and I'm sure other people are going to get up and speak and they can talk more to those. So she worked with bacteria, as I've kind of indicated, various kinds of bacteria in rats, in marine mammals, in cows, in birds. Some of them have got really funny names, haven't they, Reese? Chlamydia pistachii, not pistachio. Yersinia enterocolitica, Staphylococcus aureus. These are the kinds of things we did. She worked a lot with viruses, as I've said, with the small baby ones, but also with viruses in cats and dogs. And she did a huge amount of work in the animal space. Genetics in hunter-weight dogs, exercises in dogs, sheep breeding, horse osteoarthritis, cattle ticks, work on chickens, cats, sheep fly strike, dermatitis in roe kiwi, milk production. A vast array of things. Many of those people involved in those projects are here today. There are more, as yet, I have not mentioned. So I want to just touch on Kristene's ability in the lab, and Kristene in the lab. She knew her, let's use the word stuff, when it came to the lab work. Her depth of knowledge, her troubleshooting, her willingness to help, including to the postgrad students in our lab. She was a go-to person, you could say. I should also add that Kristene was not involved in many of these projects herself, but she was always happy to help and offer her opinion as and when required. And yes, maybe sometimes not so required. But anyway, you knew she was in the room, you knew she was in the meeting, whether that was in person or now increasingly as we go online and seem to stay in the online world. Kristene exemplified a hashtag that's going around called kindness in science. She was passionate about keeping everyone safe while they were doing their research. She was passionate about being kind to people. Her role on the Vet School Health and Safety Committee, for example, demonstrated her deep felt caring for others. So I'm just going to return to the technical aspects. I think, it kind of illustrates in a nutshell kind of who Kristene was. We have a co-worker from Texas, a gentleman by the name of Felix Guerrero, who unfortunately can't be with us today, but hopefully he's on the live stream. Hey, Felix. So Felix and Kristene and I and Kevin were working on a project to look at some cattle ticks. We wanted to extract the DNA for the genome. This was a big deal. This is a complicated genome. I sit in an office and type on a keyboard. They went back to techniques from 20, 30 years ago using old school molecular biology to get the best DNA they possibly could to allow this genome to be assembled easier. When that DNA was sent to the AgriLife Genomics Service in College Station at Texas A&M, the director said it was the best DNA he'd ever seen. It sequenced so well, it made the assembly of the genome so much easier than it otherwise could have been. This care, this knowledge just typified Kristene, the ability to do the job well. Our most recent project was especially dear to Kristene's heart, so again, please indulge me a couple of minutes on that. It was a project called Directed Sequencing, And it was a genomics editor project that Kristene was the Massey principal investigator on. It was a collaboration with colleagues from ESR, most of whom have driven up from Te Waiora and surrounding areas to be here today. So thank you very much, guys, for coming up. It was inspired also by a former ESR colleague, Miles Benton, who's also driven down today to be with us. And it was made up of two parts, a human part and an animal part. So yep, guess what? We at Massey, we were doing the animal part. So the idea for this project was to get the ability to sequence that DNA out of the labs closer to where it was needed, out in the fields, out in the community. And in this case, we were looking at identifying sheep gastrointestinal parasites. Yep, it's that again. And the research to the resistant chemicals that they now have developed resistance to. Andrea has been hired as a postdoc on the project, and she has been working closely with Kristene on that project. Andrea chaired Kristene's Hopkirk office for a while, which allowed conversations on DNA extraction, sample collection, amongst other topics to flow. Kristene loves her companion animals and loved hearing about the two dogs that Mandy and I have. I was promised by Kristene to be yep, you guessed it, a sample collector from the Police Dog Training Centre at Trentham, which would involve rigorous testing, hugs, and cuddles. Bientôt, Kristene, bientôt. I'll let some others speak now, and end it by simply saying that Kristene, you'll be deeply missed, but we are all the better for having been in your universe. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Patrick, for that heartfelt tribute and an insight into the range of research and the depth of research that was such an important part of Kristene's life. I'd now like to call Jackie to come forward and bring her tribute.
Thank you.
And Dave.
Don't worry.
It's like an ice cream.
Very good. Okay. Kia ora koutou. Jackie Benshop, together with Dave Heyman, we line manage Kristene. But that's nuts, right? Kristene didn't stay in the lines. She burst into our group. A few years ago formally, but years before then. Nailuka and Lynn are going to join us shortly, I think. Yep. And part of this group tribute. Thank you. She also burst into my office with her ideas, technology, creativity. Let's do splatter, let's bake a cake, let's make masks for COVID-19. She had concerns and she brought them to us about staff and students. She sought our guidance on collaboration and contracts, and she shared her knowledge with us. 3 students, the work that I did with Kristene was not too much of her work at all, but 3 come to mind. Lindsay's work with leptospirosis, Ada with Neisseria, gonorrhea, and Soon, who's just completed her PhD on chlamydia. Something from those students. Your patience in showing me how things work in the laboratory, introducing me to the world of molecular biology, emotional support during the challenging time of COVID-19. I don't think we saw that, me anyway, that mentoring that Kristene was so capable of. I had a birthday recently. I was taken to see Mr. Bruce, a fantastic musician who recently had a loss, and he sung a song about grief called Where Have You Gone? I'm not going to sing it, but some of the lines, where have you gone? Can someone tell me? Can someone answer me, please? I don't know where Kristene has gone, but I see and feel plenty of her in this room. Bett and Murrey, yesterday when you came to our group, that was so precious to us. Thank you for spending time with us and for sharing Kristene with us. Bett, your care of us when we were grieving in Kristene's home last weekend and over the week. Thank you. And both of you, your attention to detail, I saw that in Kristene too. All the love in the room, all last week, the love in our group, how we took care of each other. Kristene would have done that, brought the food, made time for each other. And as Andrea said to me yesterday, I'm here for them in reference to Kristene's parents. Thank you for that, and Kristene would have done the same. Rest in peace, Kristene, we miss you.
Thanks. I wasn't named because I wasn't sure I would be able to speak today, because Kristene's the second person I've lost this week, and from the same thing. And anyway, coming here, I thought, what should I wear? I noticed there's a theme, and it was nice to hear from Patrick about what to wear. And I thought, should I wear the Normal People Scare Me t-shirt? Because that was something she liked. I think that was her favourite. I had a hop t-shirt. She'd often come in, she'd always comment on what I was wearing, so she'd talk about the hops and the beer. I have a bat t-shirt, she'd talk about bats. And I think what you got from Patrick's talk and a bit from Jackie is just how engaging Kristene was, and how much she thought about so many different things and different people. And I'm going to keep it very short, but I think the fact that so many people are here today, and the outpouring of goodwill and kindness towards Kristene, and hopefully you feel that as a family, is a real honour to Kristene, and I hope she wouldn't be surprised. But I think she's going to be dearly missed by many people. So thanks very much.
Thank you. And as part of the tribute from the group, I'd like to ask Nailuka and Lynn to come forward now, if I may, a little out of service, and to share what they wish to share about Kristene. Thank you.
Kristene, I hope you can hear me. No, you can. I'm quite sure she can hear me. You chose the right color for my skin. Look what I'm wearing. You choose the dress, this dress, and you asked me to wear it with a belt. I choose to wear this multicolored braiding that you gave it to me as the belt. Can you remember the glass painting workshop we went together? And this is the glass pendant I made with you. I cannot forget the pottery painting sessions we did with the other girls. We had so much fun. Kristene, you are an artistic, crafty person. I used to share my cooking with her. She used to say, I hate fish, but I cannot resist eating the fish curry bowls that Niluka makes. She loved eating the Sri Lankan dal curry. She always returned her empty food containers with a piece of fabric on my office desk. I never knew what to do with it. That's how our sewing club started. Lynn and myself learned how to sew. She was our teacher. Kristene was a teacher. When I was sad, she cried with me. When I was actually angry, she blasted like a bomb with me. When I was happy, she laughed with me. Whatever I talked about, she always listened to me. Kristene was a wonderful friend to me. She showed me many ways to the life, beautiful things, how to enjoy in your life. Kristene, even though you are not going to be around, you are going to be in our heart forever. Goodbye, Kristene.
Well, there's a lot of wonderful things I could talk about with Kristene, so I'm just going to try and keep it short. Work-wise, I think she had an amazing ability to take her work extremely seriously and at the same time not at all seriously. She was so passionate about science, as we all know. She was always up with the new latest techniques. She wanted us to have all the best methods, all the best reagents, everything to make the results for all of her students the best they could be. And for me, she was a great support, such a fountain of knowledge. But we didn't have to be dull about it. Science doesn't have to be dull. She had all her fun things in the lab. She had colourful pens with bells on. She had all her wonderful notebooks, pictures up in the lab, and she even had a little puzzle up on the fridge that we could play with while we were waiting for the centrifuge to happen. It was always such a joy to see her come into the lab, just because of her presence, and everybody knows what that was like. Massive smile. She was always wanting to know what everybody had been up to, always interested, and you could always feel when she was in the lab she would be singing or she would be humming or going doot 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 when she was in there. And more often than not I had some issue that I needed her help with, and she always had multiple solutions for that. Outside of work, she made a valiant attempt to upscale my dress sense. Not so successful. The reason I'm wearing this dress today is solely Kristene. I had a wedding to go to. I had exactly 0 dresses, and she came shopping with me, and I think at about shop 3 I'd had it. I was going to pack it in. She said, no, come on, pick this, try that one on. I said, oh, come on, it's just going to be awful. And she said, no, in you get, try that on. And I did, and I thought, oh, it's okay. So this is why I'm wearing this one today. I will miss you, Kristene. I am so glad for all the laughter and colour that she brought into our lives. I will keep working on my colour dress sense. She did try to teach me to sew. I think that was ambitious, but I'm going to keep practising. And as the host of her favourite podcast, My Favourite Murder, would say, stay sexy and rest easy, Kristene.
Bett Murrey and the family have asked that we have an open mic now for anyone else who would like to bring a tribute for Kristene.
Hi, so we're the Misfit Cousins. I'm Barbara. There's 10 years between Kristene and I. And so I remember this little girl, this little blonde curly-haired girl, full of life. Then life got in the way and we all went our separate ways. And really only got together for special events. And hang on, put my glasses on. But when Kevin and I moved back home nearly 5 years ago, we got to spend a lot more time with everyone. We had very funny, special times together, and in the middle was Kristene, our happy nerd, our doctor of poo. It was her storytelling that sent us into hysterics. You soon learn not to be eating or drinking during one of her stories. She would come out with things like, penguins are just so cute, fluffy and cuddly, but their poo was something else, stinky. It was as though their poo should have been as cute as them. I soon discovered she was also a magpie like me and loved shiny things. And when we went to the craft and home shows, she would stop every jewellery store, sample every potion, lotion, food and drink, always going away with a bag full of goodies. Kristene, you've now got your angel wings, so rest in peace. And know you are very special to us all and brought us so much laughter to our times together. We're going to miss you a lot, and so now I entertain your uncles, your auntie, Gary and Russell. Why we tried it, and we'll all try and organise and plan all the trips you wanted us to do. So love you, you nerd, Go the Hurricanes.
Hi. For those that don't know me, I'm Jackie, and I am now the baby female cousin at this generation. However, I could be known as the bossy one, and could be known. However, there is one that's online that is a lot more bossier, and it happens to be his wife. Angela is more bossier than me, and so she has to run our family now. This will be short because, contrary to popular belief, within this family anyway, I do not like public speaking. Aunty Betty used to say I was Kristene's twinnie. I'm not sure how I am a twin when there's approximately 5 years between us. However, as you know, they say one twin gets the brains and the other one gets the looks. And from what you've heard already, I did not get the brains. I know you're all wondering how the twin story legend goes. Well, while Kristene was still growing in the womb, apparently I had telepathic abilities. I taught her all her mannerisms and all her little quirks. One quirk we shared was having a carry-all with all our little precious things in it, and we carried that everywhere we went. In the later years, we both had a slight incline to accumulate, not hoard, scarves, which this is mine, not hers, and shoes. Lucky Kristene hadn't started on the band handbags, but my wardrobe tells a different story. And I was yet to involve Kristene in that magical, wonderful handbag plan. As with all our families, and from all of our families, we've had a share of things and designated the one who's not bossy to talk. Once we all started to grow up, leave school, go into the world, study, work, travel, build a family, we did drift apart. But in recent years, with Kristene coming back to work and live in Palmerston North, and with the older generation disappearing on us, our family has come back together, and it has made our bond stronger and filled with a lot of love. We even brought up the next generation into this with Kristene, and she's had some in-depth conversations with my favourite niece about dairy farming and plant biology, as they had something very in common with that. She also came to see my daughter play rugby on several occasions, one here, one over in the other fields, and one of her comments was, "Oh my God, the girls don't hold back, do they? They hit harder than the boys." And yes, they did, and she thought they were very polished for a school team. From us all, one of Kristene's greatest attributes was that she could share complex stuff she was involved in a way that we could all get it, and with a great deal of humour. This is a gift, and it's resulted in some very loud, humorous family events. I am sure our families will never look at poo in the same way ever again. To Uncle Murray, Aunty Betty, Craig and Karen and family, we send our love and support, and you know where we are should you ever need us. We will always be there for you.
You got anything to say? I've got a little bit to say. G'day. Kia ora, I'm Bruce. I'm the Auckland cousin, and there's been a bit of a theme that Patrick started about poo. So I'm just going to share a little bit, like a little bit of poo with you. So in our family, and actually Kristene doesn't know this, you guys don't know this, Kristene to us is known as Ticks and Poo Gedye. So that's what we call her, Ticks and Poo. And we will desperately miss her, and we will desperately miss her humour. Thank you.
I first met Kristene about 40 years ago when my family moved down from Blenheim to Christchurch, and I was the new girl at Shirley Primary School. Kristene was buddied up with me as the new girl, and we just clicked. It might have been the fact that our names rhymed. I'm Kristene Eddy and she was Kristene Gedye. We were both tall and we both had curly hair. But whatever it was, I couldn't imagine us not ever being friends. We moved in different circles, and we were in different classes at intermediate and high school. We went to different high schools even. But every school holidays, we'd meet up, we'd go through the botanical gardens, through the museum, through town, catch a movie, have a catch up without fail. She loved the movies. I remember we went to see Ghostbusters and she'd bought some marshmallows and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man came on and we just lost the plot completely. People around us thought we were mad. Our lives have taken very different paths, with me out to work as soon as I could and Chris getting her tertiary education, travelling and living abroad. We kept in touch. She never forgot a birthday or Christmas. And when my partner and I had our son Ben, she never forgot him either. We always just picked up where we left off. She was the smartest person I ever knew, the kindest and the most big-hearted. And when she smiled, she lit up a room. But most of all, she was my bestest and oldest friend, and I will miss her. Thank you.
Our final reading will be from Psalm 23, and if I could ask Diane to come forward and read for us, please.
Good afternoon. I'm reading from the book of Psalms, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He restores my soul. He guides me along right paths, bringing honour to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honour me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
I want to share some final thoughts and then a prayer. Cancer touched Kristene's life 15 years ago, and this year it returned. We all know the saying, parents should not have to bury their children. And this is the pain and the sorrow that Bett and Murrey bear. And others bear the sorrow of losing a family member, a friend, and a colleague. We've heard this afternoon how Kristene had an inquiring mind. She also had a Christian outlook. And the two hospital chaplains that spent time with her said her faith helped her as she faced her final days. Part of this faith is a hope that transcends our suffering, and of which Psalm 23 speaks, and is encapsulated in these words of Jesus to the grieving. I am the resurrection and the life. Everyone who believes in me will live, even though they die. Please stand for the final prayer and the committal. God, creator and sustainer of the universe, giver of life, We thank you for the life of Kristene Gedye and the positive pink ways in which she has touched all our lives. And we grieve. We weep as Jesus wept in the face of death. But we also hope that death does not write the final lines of our lives. We commit Kristene to you as the Good Shepherd who leads us home and into everlasting life. Amen. Please remain standing.